Hello and welcome to On the Kerbs. I'm your host, Team Hours Daily. Joining me on the Kerbs this week is Canadian co-rally driver Sarah Fries. We caught up recently to chat about how she got into motorsport to begin with, what it's like being a co-driver, some of her fun racing stories, and much more. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Hi Sarah, thank you for being here today. First of all, how are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for asking me to be interviewed.
My pleasure. So the first thing I always like to ask everyone who comes on here, what got you into motorsport to begin with?
So the short answer is I bought a Subaru. If you don't own a Subaru, you might not know. People who own them tend to park near other people with Subarus and wave at other people with Subarus. And I had parked near this other Subaru, it's pretty cool looking, at work, and kind of hung around to see who was driving it. And it ended up being another woman. So we got to talking and we swapped numbers and hung out a few times. And she told me that she was into rally and she needed a co-driver for the upcoming season. And she was perfectly comfortable taking on someone who was very new to the sport. And would I ever consider it? And
That escalated very quickly.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't know a thing about rally, but I thought, you know what, I'll give it a season. We'll see how it goes, and here we are.
I was going to say, just from what is essentially an unofficial owners club.
Yeah.
So, I'll just see it, and then it's I'm in this now.
Yeah, just right in there.
So then, what is it about rallying you love so much?
I love the people. I mean, we've probably both seen videos of fans like dragging cars out of ditches. Fans get so into it. People who love it, they love it with so much passion. But I love the people that I race with, because it's happened more than once where I've tried to explain rally to someone who doesn't know what it is, and inevitably I get the question of, so you just race against the women then, right? And that's not the case. I mean,
I always thought rallying is you're racing against the clock, no matter anyone else.
Right. And that's the thing. And I think that's what separates it from other types of sports, maybe not motorsports specifically, but other types of sports where we're not separated by our gender or how much we spent to get there, or who we're related to. We're separated by the capability of the machine that we're in, and everything else is on you. And I can't think of any other sport where you can just buy the outfit, pay the entry fee, and then compete against some of the best people in the world. It's like, I don't know, buying a ticket to play at the Olympics against superstars, against celebrities and some of the best people in the world, and they don't treat you any differently than they treat any of their friends.
I was going to say, did you have that moment there where you're surrounded by the people, like, oh my god, what am I doing here with all these people?
Yeah, I mean, I've had rallies where at Parc Exposé, but before the race starts, you walk along, you say good morning to Travis Pastrana, you ask Oliver Solberg what he thinks about the cattle guard jump on stage 3, and it's just normal.
Just all best friends.
It's just totally normal. Yeah.
Does that feel any more normal the longer you do, or are you still having those kind of?
I mean, you know what? Like, some of the people that I race with are like Ken Block and Travis Pastrana. David Higgins was over here a couple of weeks ago. You see them in pictures, and you see them in magazines and up on posters, and you see their autograph, and then you walk past them, and it's kind of jarring that you see them as just a normal human. They're just another human.
It makes sense, but it doesn't that you're seeing them.
Right. It kind of hits you. But yeah.
What's the most challenging thing about being a rally co-driver then?
You have to do everything except press the gas pedal. And like absolutely everything. So it is a ton of work. When I'm preparing for a rally, I start 3 weeks at least before for like a national event. And you have to get GPS coordinates and you have to get maps and you have to account for every single team member, every crew member, your crew chief, the car, and where they'll be and when to the minute for like 4 days straight. You have to know every rule and regulation. You have to be on top of every bulletin. You have to be very, very organized. um I would say that's the toughest thing. It's just
Should we be rephrasing co-driver as team boss at this point, or from the sense of it?
You're the team manager, and yeah, you're in charge of a lot, and there's a lot riding on your shoulders at the end of the day. So
And just saw the realization that's like, oh man, I might actually be the boss here.
yeah, pretty much, because the drivers that I compete with, they're very skilled, they're very good at what they do, but they're only doing what I tell them to do and just trusting that I'm right. So there's a lot of pressure there.
I mean, hopefully that goes well most of the time anyway. So I'm sure you don't have anything to worry about on that one.
No. I think the last, let me see. So I've been in 8 rallies. I've DNF'd twice. And then of the other 6, I've been on 5 podiums. So it's
not too bad, really, is it?
It hasn't been too bad.
So then what's a fun racing story that you like to tell?
Oh God. Okay. So
you don't have to be centered on here. You can go for anything.
I mean, I got a laugh out of it later. Back in I was contacted by another driver and asked to meet them in Ohio to do some testing for an upcoming race. So I wouldn't be in the race, but we would just spend an entire day on set stages in the forest, just shaking down the car, getting everything ready for the next race coming up. And there were a couple of competitors there that were doing the same thing. And one of them, his name is Patrick Morrow. So if for anybody that doesn't follow like American rallying, he has an LS swapped Chevy Sonic. So that is a tiny car with a race car engine, and it's just a blast. It screams in every single gear. That car is so much fun. And before I left for the day, he still had another run to do. And I was asked, hey, do you want to hop in real quick? You can go do one quick stage. I was like, oh my God, of course I do. So I grabbed my helmet, I put it on, and I got in his co-driver's seat, and somebody handed me his co-driver's notes. And then there were 2 problems. The first problem is that his co-driver is well over 6 feet tall, and I'm not. So I could just barely see the edge of the road over top of the dashboard. Co-drivers don't look up a lot, but when they do, it's because they need to. And then the second problem was that I was holding somebody else's notes. So if you've never seen pace notes before, we might have like a right 5, tightens keep in, kinks over 180, left 4 over crest, clip. And we're not writing that out in English. We just have really quick shorthand. A lot of times we just use symbols. And this was in someone else's handwriting too. And this was
it's all very tailored to the person. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you have somebody else's pace notes, because there is no real standard, you're looking at Greek. So we had about a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Can't see where you're going, can't read the notes. Not ideal.
Exactly. In an unfamiliar car. So yeah, I had about a minute and a half, 2 minutes to get to the stage start, and I'm looking at these notes, and I'm like, oh my God, knowing how fast this car is and how fast and aggressive this driver is. I got about 3 lines in before I distinctly remember saying, oh my God, I'm lost. I'm so sorry. While this car is just going flat out, screaming in every gear, and there's gravel hitting the underbody protection and spraying everywhere. Thankfully, Pat has a good sense of humor, and he laughed it off, and he knew the stage very well, and we weren't actually racing, so he was able to just navigate his way through it. But I don't think he'll be calling me anytime soon to co-drive.
Or at least he'll let you make your own notes first.
Hopefully, yeah, and maybe a higher seat for me.
Get a little cushion in there or something.
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean, talk about throwing you in the deep end a bit there. There's one way to challenge you at least.
A little bit, but you know what? I got to take a ride in that car, and I really like that car.
You got something out of it. That's the main thing. So then would you, I mean, you've loved rally, you kind of got into that by accident from the sense of it. Would you ever want to try out different forms of motorsport?
Oh, that's a good question. Usually the question is, would you ever go be a rally driver? And the answer is no.
Next question ticked off.
Yeah, no, or just no. As for other motorsport, you know, I'm a competent driver, but I'm not a race car driver. I know my skill set. I think I'm a pretty good co-driver, and I'm very comfortable there. But I don't know. Maybe some type of like track type racing. I don't know that I would do off-road racing. I don't think I would be ready for that.
It's one thing to be telling the other person in the rally car where to go, never mind having the responsibility of actually driving that. So maybe a track is a safer place maybe to start.
Yeah, and I would like to say that I'm brave and that I'm this excellent race car driver. I'm not. I'm gonna be honest. I probably drive a little more like my grandmother. So I don't know. I
I
like
do
being
like that idea though that you drive like that. You get safely to the rally and then you get in the car that's going to go tearing
exactly
around the place.
exactly.
Uh, so then I don't know if we would count the small car from just now or not because it was just a little test drive kind of stage in a stage rally. But then what's the best car you've done a rally in?
The best car I've done a rally in is maybe a little unassuming. So it's actually the car that I'm in this season. I'm in a 2005 Acura RSX Type S. So it's a very small two-door hatch, and it's front-wheel drive, and it's almost completely stock. So it has all of the prep that you need for it to be a legal rally car. All the safety equipment. There's upgraded suspension and like a few other tweaks. And other than that, it's quick and so nimble. And the driver that I'm with, I couldn't ask for a better driver. He's incredible. And just he came from rallycross and then went into rally, so his car control is impeccable. And that's a quick little car, and it can navigate terrain that it really floors me.
The mind still boggles.
Yeah.
So then, I mean, maybe you're singing your current driver's praises there, but if you could partner with a driver rather that you haven't yet, who would you pick and why?
So actually the driver that I was working with when I took a ride in Pat Morrow's car, I think I would want to race with Chris Greenhouse. He competes all across the states and he competes in Canada as well. And he's an incredible driver. He's very fast, and he has an SRT4 Neon, which is just it's well modified. That car is fast. It absolutely rips. And he's very competitive. I'm in rally for the fun, but I also like to win, of course. Yeah, and he's also just a really nice person. He's a really good guy. So I think that's who I'd like to compete with. You have to like who you're in a car with too.
And so I feel like rallying is probably one of the more important motorsports where you really have to get on with your teammate because you kind of need to rely on each other more than you would in normal track racing, for example. Like you're in the same team, but you're not in the car with them, and you're not relying on each other quite so much.
Yeah, you have to be able to take criticism and critique as a co-driver, and as a driver, you have to be the kind of person who can keep a level head no matter what, and not get emotional and not get distracted. But yeah, there's when we're running races, there's sometimes 2-day races, and it's hot. It's incredibly hot, and you're dehydrated, and you're hungry, and you're cranky, and things don't always go your way. And so inside and outside the car, you have to have someone on your team that you get along with and can forgive.
I feel like you flash back to a very specific kind of set of memories there.
Oh, like every race. But you come out the other side and you feel that much better about it.
So then to flip that question, if you took the driver's seat, who would you want to be your co-rally driver?
Rhiannon Gelsomino. So Rhiannon, she's Travis Pastrana's co-driver with Subaru over here in the States. And Rhiannon and her husband Alex, they actually founded Oz Rally Pro. So it's like a co-driver training program. So I've been there twice. I've worked with them twice, and I've learned so much. So I would say I think I'd prefer a female co-driver, and then absolutely Rhiannon, because she's just the top of her game.
Can't say fairer than that.
Yeah.
Then outside of rallying, what do you like to do for fun when you're not tearing around on the rallying circuit?
I'm actually really outdoorsy, so I do a lot of like hiking and swimming, kayaking, and just as kind of like a COVID thing, my husband and I bought a catamaran, so he knows how to sail it, and I'm learning how to sail. So yeah.
New skill from the last year. That's tick that box.
Yeah.
Then what's your favorite meal?
Oh, pizza. But it has to be pizza from my hometown, and it's very different.
How's it different?
Like thin, crispy crust, shredded pepperoni.
I'm feeling like I'm gonna have to come and try that. I'm a very big pizza lover, to be fair. So
you wouldn't think it would make a ton of difference, but like thin, crispy crust, shredded pepperoni, light on the sauce, and it's just like there are so many pizza places in my hometown, but all of them, they all have the same kind of pizza, and it's just it's so good. I miss it.
I would take that bullet and I will go and try that. I'm willing to make that sacrifice. And finally, you've got a dog. On a scale of 1 to 10, how cute is it?
I mean, she's my dog, so she's perfect. I think she's adorable. It doesn't mean she gets away with everything, but I think she's very sweet. She's often up on my Instagram, so she's my hiking buddy and my running buddy and my swimming buddy, and she goes everywhere with me. So I think she's perfect.
Definition of a best friend there, I think, living up to that mantra.
Yeah.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you today. I want to wish you best of luck with all of the rallying for the rest of the year and beyond. And thank you for being here today.
All right, thanks. It was wonderful to talk to you. Thanks.
It was lovely chatting with Sarah. Our chat definitely made me want to check out some more rallying in the future. I want to thank her again for coming onto the show, and I wish her the best of luck for the rest of the 2021 season and beyond. Join me again soon when I'll be chatting to another famous face from the world of motorsport. And in the meantime, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and check out the other videos on the On the Kerbs YouTube channel. Away from YouTube, you can find me over on DriveTribe, and feel free to follow me on Instagram at t.albers.daily.drivetribe. You can also find me over on GB Grandstand TV, where I'm part of their weekly podcast. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you again next week for the next episode.